Buckmeister, village your boy Buckmeister, twice the nice that you are used to. Shablam some here today, and we are talking about the Book of Boba Fett, the finale. So hi, if you're new here, my name is Buckmeister Cool from Meister Geek Media. I talk all sorts of geek media, from the comic books, the superheroes, the animes, the sci-fis, and all of that good stuff. So if any of that sounds cool to you, please feel free to tickle that subscribe button and that bell button so you never miss a video. The Boba Fett finale. This series has... Okay, before we even get into the whole finale, I just have to say this series has been alright. Like, again, I had issues, small issues with The Mandalorian, but most of it I thoroughly enjoyed. This one was just, it was alright. It was something that was on. It was something like, oh, this comes on every Wednesday. Okay. That's kind of what this show was for me. And I think it did Boba Fett a disservice, in my opinion, like a heavy disservice. Like the people who hate this, I mean, people who like this, that's cool and whatever. But the people who hate this, I mean, again, hate is a very strong emotion. Don't tie yourself that much to a fictional world and a fictional character. It'll be okay. Just go have some cookies. But I do think it did a disservice in terms of trying to, expand upon the story of Boba Fett. Because, like, if they had actually shown the ruthlessness of Boba Fett. I mean, in this finale, they do kind of, but at the same time, it was just like this needed to be earlier. They needed this to happen earlier, and I feel like if they did something with Boba Fett where they made him what the legend of Boba Fett says, if they had a clear distinction of that, because I think that's the biggest issue with this series is that the legend was never addressed. Because the legend of Boba Fett was big. Nerddom, Star Wars, people who weren't even into Star Wars know about Boba Fett. And Boba Fett being this legendary bounty hunter. Like, he was supposed to be like this unstoppable force. Like, the Sarlacc pit was supposed to be like a one-time incident. And this series, I mean, it took him away from that Sarlacc pit incident kind of a little bit, but it didn't meet the legend, and that was the thing. That's the thing to me that makes it a little bit disappointing. Like, in this finale we get hints of the legend, and I'm just like, you should have done more of this. I don't know why we're not doing more of this. And I get it, people want to say Sarlacc pit damage. Personally, if I was writing it, he would have already been healed from Sarlacc pit damage. We didn't need to see him operate while he was having Sarlacc pit damage. I don't think that was necessary. I also think he should have just had a crew, because he says he's got credits in the show, so he should have just brought mercenaries out the yin yang. That, like, there's a lot of things with this series that it's just to me it's a little bit disappointing, because I was legit interested in the legend of Boba Fett. I even read some of the comic books of Boba Fett, and the stuff he does in there is pretty badass. So I was hoping they were going to do that in this series, but they didn't. Okay, pushing aside the stuff that I wanted, let's actually talk about this finale. Yeah, it was not a bad finale. The action is very, very dope. Boba Fett is finally hitting people, and like intentionally hitting people and putting them down, which is something I wanted to see from Boba Fett for a very long time. He's got his knee cannons and all of that stuff going on. Apparently, the Cad Bane and the Cad Bane is either Boba Fett's teacher, or they had beef or something. I couldn't tell, because again, like I said, I'm not into the lore that much, but that's how much people talked about Boba Fett. But the point being is that they had beef, so they had to meet up, and that was a pretty cool exchange. Boba Fett does some cool things. He does things in this finale that I wanted him to do from, not even from the beginning, just in an earlier episode. And I know people are gonna point to the train episode and all of that stuff, but I'm saying I needed Boba Fett being badass in the suit. I needed that a lot earlier I needed that a lot earlier in the series, and it took very long to get there. I think if they could have done what they did with him in this episode a lot earlier, then it would have solidified him being a threat, like a major threat as the character. I mean, again, Fennec Shand, goddamn, like Fennec Shand, to me, she has been what Boba Fett is supposed to be. Like, I would have liked to see Boba Fett be more like Fennec Shand. Like, I understand the respectability aspect of it, but like, with the people they were fighting, these Pike syndicates crossed lines very early, and it would have been nice to see Boba Fett just go ham on them. And Fennec Shan, she puts in a lot of work. Like, I love her action scenes, and I also love Ming Na Wen acting in this. I think she was doing a very good job as Fennec Shan. So that's just a bonus. And I just feel like they made Fennec Shan Ruth. And again, I understand what they were trying to do to get the balance of the two, but it felt imbalanced to me. It felt like she was the one running. It felt like she was the one running the city, not Boba Fett. That's what it felt like to me. And then also, of course, Baby Yoda makes an appearance because everybody knew how that was gonna go in Episode 6. Like, who expected him to take up Yoda's lightsaber? That was just not gonna work. Yeah, so Baby Yoda comes in and does his thing as well, and it's just like, man, everybody's taken from the Book of Boba Fett. Like, does he have a chapter anymore? Like, is this actual chapter, or is he getting pages of a chapter? Like, is he getting like it's a 12, like it's supposed to be a 10-page chapter? He gets like 2 pages. Um, I didn't really enjoy how he kind of got sidelined in his own story. I think to me also that was just adding to the disservice. I mean, it was cool to see Baby Yoda again. I know his name is Grogu, I get it, but it was cool to see Baby Yoda and do his thing and everything. It was cool to see Mandalorian and Boba Fett work together and all of that stuff. It felt like Mando put in way more work in this series than Boba Fett did. And Grogu, it felt like Grogu put in way more work than Boba Fett did in his own series, and that's just, I, it's a little bit disappointing to me. I mean, again, to go back to Boba Fett and Cad Bane, their action scene was really dope. Except like there's a moment before it that I found kind of stupid. I don't know if it's Star Wars lore or if it's stupid, but until I know the Star Wars lore, it felt stupid to me. But yeah, the Cad Bane thing was cool. Their confrontation was sweet, and also what Boba Fett does to turn the tide in the battle, I thought that was really cool. The only thing is I was like, if you had that, that should have probably been your opening move. If that was a thing that you had in the pocket, when you know an army is coming for you, you should have probably had that weapon of yours on deck. Like, you should not have had to go fetch it. Like, I don't like it when characters have like secret power moves or secret power weapons and they wait until everything gets bad to whip it out. I'm looking at you, Superman, in the animated series with your super punch. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't like, for me, I don't like that because it feels like it's padding out to try and get to a big finale at the end versus actually being tactical strategy in a battle. So Boba Fett did that in this series, and it was cool, but it was just in the back of my mind. I was like, why don't you open with that? I'm not gonna lie, this was an underwhelming finale. Like, again, the stuff that's cool about it is cool, and I don't think it's as terrible as the series as people are saying. Some people are just railing on this to up to the yin yang. I don't think it was as bad as that, but I do think it was a little bit underwhelming. And for a character like Boba Fett that had this huge lore history behind him, that does have comic books that you can go look at and go see him do some of the most badass things possible, I feel like it's unfair to make a viewing, to make a viewer, somebody who does not know anything about, or maybe knows very little about Boba Fett. I think it's unfair to go read the comic books to see when he was doing all of his cool stuff. No, they should have put some cool stuff with him, and they should have put more cool stuff. Let me say, they should have put more cool stuff with him in this series. They put some cool stuff, but it was not enough. Those are my thoughts on the Boba Fett finale. What do you think, Meister Bill? Let me know in the comment section down below. Talk to your boy. And if you're at this point in the video, I want to say thank you so much for getting to this point in the video. You are spectacular. Now, if you really like this video, I got another one up here. I got a playlist down there. And I got an icon you can click on to subscribe. Remember to ring the bell if you do subscribe. And I'll see you all in another video because Master Man's got to be out. Peace.